from Rocky River and Akron. Here we are. It's the Bull and Fox, and it is draft day. And Dustin, we have not celebrated a draft day together since 2020?
It's been a minute.
Yeah, 2021. Because my last day on the fan was April 1st, 2022. And we were in the midst of COVID. I was just saying, it feels like the first time in 6 years we can really celebrate the draft. There's no COVID. There's no lack of first round pick.
Yeah.
And it's all excitement. We've been talking about this draft for months and months and months. And now it is finally here. We're going to get to the Cavs and their win last night in a second. But real quick, and then we'll get back to the Browns again. But real quick, you were just saying before we went on, well, say what you said about Travis Hunter.
Oh, I said, number one, I can't believe draft day is finally here because I feel like it's been just every single day. However, it has not been every single day. The years when we did 5 hours a day of quarterback after quarterback after quarterback, it was the worst.
Yeah.
At least now I'm only doing it just with 30 minutes here, 30 minutes there, the YouTube show we do. But it's got to be Travis Hunter no matter what, right?
It has to be.
It has to be.
By the way, I spoke to I'm actually having dinner at a restaurant with Jonathan Peterlin and his wife. My wife and I were having dinner with them.
Oh, how sweet.
Saturday. And
I'm sure you're getting a good dinner. And I bet that's probably not coming out of your pocket.
I don't know. I'm not sure how that's working.
Dude, they got the connects, man.
Yeah, that's true. His wife.
That's what I'm saying.
Is the food guru.
She's very, very plugged in.
Yeah. So, but I texted him. I said, like a month ago, I was like, enjoy the 5 hours of draft talk.
Man, that's messed up.
And then a week before, he's like, oh, make it end.
Poor guys.
Well, for him, it's his first year. Obviously, Nick, did it with you a couple of years, but it wasn't the same because there was no first round pick. But it is now that it's actually draft day. It's exciting for those who, I'm sure 99.9% of our audience know you played in the NFL, but there may be one or two people who don't. What was it like draft day? Take us back. We've talked about it before, but for those who haven't heard, as a player about to get drafted, what's going on through your head this morning?
Well, it was different back when I was drafted. So my draft year was 2005, which is 20 years ago, which is pretty insane. Doesn't feel like 20 years ago. Feels like just yesterday. But back then they had the first 3 rounds were the first day, and that was a Saturday. So the draft was Saturday, Sunday.
Oh yeah.
With the final 4 rounds on Sunday.
Yeah.
So I remember I woke up that morning. I actually went to a spa with a couple of buddies and just to go steam and get in the cold tub and all those things just to kind of veg out. And started watching the first round. I didn't anticipate being a first round pick. I thought I could potentially be a second round pick.
Mm-hmm.
Mid to late first day of the draft. So I didn't even get together with my family until late in the first round, which was I don't know, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Were you stressed out?
Yeah, hell yeah, I was stressed out. I didn't hear from anybody all day.
Yeah.
My agent's just telling me hey, we're hearing anywhere from the second to fourth round. That's kind of going to be the wheelhouse for you. And so I didn't really think much of it until we got into the second round. And then I started seeing some players come off the board that I knew that I played against or just knew throughout the process. And I'm like, oh man, these guys were all the publications that you read. Not as many back then as there are now, but I still was looking at Mel Kiper and some of these guys and oh, this guy was projected to go here. I was supposed to go there. Boom, 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 looking at mock drafts and things like that. So, we're late second round. I'm seeing some guys start to go. Then I'm I got to be getting close. And sure enough, we get into the third round and my phone rang about 9:30 at night.
Yeah.
And the Vikings were on the clock. I saw this number come through. There was an area code I didn't recognize, so I answered it, and it was Mike Tice. And it was a real quick phone call. I mean, they just said that we're excited to take you. You're going to be Minnesota Vikings. So I was super pumped about it, and that was it, man. And they're like, "We'll call you back." I'm like, "Okay." And so then I ran back downstairs, and this phone call happened before the TV even put anything on the screen. And by that point in time, they're not really announcing the picks. They don't go to the podium and have like nowadays, I think they announce like every single pick, which is really cool and special for the player because it would have been cool like to actually hear somebody say my name.
Sure. Yeah.
Instead, it was like I got to see like Chris Berman come on and recap the last 5 picks, and I was like, and the Vikings take Dustin Fox, you know.
Boom.
You know, he just boom, boom.
Yeah.
But that was it. It was a crazy day, man. It was a lot of fun, and I'll never forget it. It was one of those like surreal moments. And you know, it was really funny. Like after I got drafted,
yeah,
I'm like, I said to my brother, I'm like, yo, like, am I rich now? I had no idea, and so I like went and looked up like what the signing bonus was for the same slot like the previous year. I was like, oh, that's pretty sweet. Am I getting that?
Was your brother playing at that point still?
He was like, no, I think he was because he'd given it a go for like the 2001, 2002 season, and then like after 03, I think he did Arena League, maybe a little of 03, and that was it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so that's, I mean, and now you think about that. Like 20 years ago doesn't seem that long, but in terms of the coverage of the draft, I mean, it couldn't be more different. You know, you talk about
what's funny though, Adam, is that when you watch the draft, if you were to go on YouTube like sometime when you're bored and go like 2005 NFL draft full whatever first round, watch the coverage, it's not much different.
Well,
the way they cover it, it's pretty much the same.
The TV coverage is the same, but leading up to it with the amount of mock drafts and all the shows dedicated and the way, like, I was doing sports talk by 2005. I was in a small market. I was in Utica, and you know the team I cut. You know, in Utica, the Bills were considered the home team because they were only a couple hours away, and it wasn't like I was talking about the draft all that much. I mean, it's a long time ago, so I don't remember all the details, but there was not the coverage that there is now and all the rumors. I don't know how these guys they're probably better off staying away, like not reading all these things because it'll drive you nuts, especially some of these guys that the way they get, you know, picked and prodded, you know, Shador Sanders, for example. I mean, that guy's been just, I don't know what's going through his head. You know, a lot of people thought he'd be the second pick in the draft. And now, our odds, he's more likely to go second round than first round. A lot of people think now the Browns can get him at 33. So it's got to be crazy for these guys.
What if the Browns somehow end up tonight with Travis Hunter and Shador?
I mean, that would be a huge win.
I mean, at least on paper, and at least for the sake of like our audience and just the excitement level of the franchise and going forward with what they've got going on, and we know what they have had going on the last couple of years.
Yeah,
it would be tremendous. You know, it would be like this, just, you know, putting life back into the franchise. I think Hunter does that no matter what.
Oh,
you pick him at 2. Like all of a sudden we're back. Like, dude, Heisman winner, like perfect smiles, gonna do everything right, gonna score all these touchdowns, gonna get interceptions, pick sixes, scoopings. Like the kid's gonna do it all. He's gonna do it all.
And he's not, he's not on social media. Did you know that?
Dude, he's like the perfect kid. I hope that my son becomes like Travis Hunter.
I mean, the guy's he
works his ass off.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he doesn't even swear. Like these kids are like brought up in the church. Like they are just about football, the Bible, and mama.
All right, well that's
you know what I mean? Which is great because you're focused on your priorities. You have them straight, and obviously those guys tend to last longer in the league, certainly. And when you're a young player, you want guys that aren't just going to be like, oh, I got to get my money, and we're about the dollar signs.
Yeah,
you know, i.e. Johnny Football and some other players along the way.
And obviously,
Mr. Hard Sleeper.
Yeah, right. Obviously, Justin. They have that relationship already, and we've, you know, listen, I'm not going to say it's going to be the same thing, but, and obviously individually they're incredibly talented, and it's an unfair comparison. But look at, you know, Burrow and Chase, the fact that they have this great chemistry for playing together in college into the pros, it just makes it so much easier. It's a much smoother transition. Now, nobody's going to compare, but there are things about Shador really that are Burrow-esque in terms of his, you know, his style of play, his intelligence, and things like that. We'll see. I don't want to put that kind of pressure on these guys, but that would be amazing if it did end up that way. Let's put the Browns on hold for a second. We'll get back to the draft because I want to get to the Cavs here. You were at the game last night. Cavs win 121-112. It was not a great performance by the Cavs.
I mean, it was when they were up 20-something points.
Right.
It was like great. And then all of a sudden it was weird. Like, when did that run happen? It was like middle of the third quarter?
Like late third into the middle of the fourth. It seemed like the Cavs couldn't make a basket. They got really sloppy with their ball movement there for a little while.
And their Mitchell just like couldn't miss.
I know. And he's a pain in the ass defensively.
Dude, he is Johnny Hustle,
physical.
dude. You know, we had really good seats last night. My buddy hooked me up.
Yeah.
Shout out. No names.
Yeah.
But so we were like in row 1, like right behind the basket.
Yeah.
And it was so cool because we had this great vantage point of seeing these guys, and like, man, that dude, you have just a whole nother level of respect if you go and sit close and watch NBA players play, especially in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Dude, these guys are fighting their asses off on the court. They're so athletic. They're physically just the specimen. And like that Mitchell kid for the Heat, dude, he would annoy the piss out of me. Or you or anybody.
Oh my God.
If you're playing at the YMCA, like he is up in your junk, like just like defensively, he's physical on the offensive side, and he was making a lot of shots last night. I mean, Tyler Hero, he's fun to watch in person, man. That guy, what a player he is.
They always find players like this Mitchell guy. The Heat always find guys like these pain in the ass players. He's not a great player, but he's a good player. He's a pain in the neck. He's very strong. You look at his upper body; he's jacked. And he was a pain in the ass. And that was, that stretch they played just terrible basketball. It was funny because Mobley and Garland played really well, like early. They were kicking ass, and then they just both kind of cooled off. And then when they brought Donovan Mitchell and Mobley back with like 6 minutes to go, Donovan just took over then. I mean, he took over down the stretch. Ty Jerome had the big game in game 1. He didn't do much yesterday, but Donovan, who was shooting poorly early, finishes 7 of 10 from 3, 36-6. For Donovan, I mean, when they needed him because they were struggling there.
Can I tell you a very funny gambling story from last night?
Yeah.
So I needed Garland to have 5 more either points, rebounds, or assists.
Yeah.
And he twists his ankle pretty good. So like I'm like, oh, he's not getting this. I needed 5, and we're under 30 seconds to go.
Right.
And he's not gonna shoot another bucket. And then he gets the rebound put back for 3. That gives him 3, right? So a rebound and 2 points.
Yep.
And then on the opposite end, gets the rebound and they foul.
He
hits the 2 free throws to get the nice little parlay last night.
Yeah. That it's nice when those things happen. Those situations like that kill you sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Come through for you sometimes. I put out a parlay here on Bet Rivers yesterday, a 4-leg parlay that was, I think we had it plus 550, and I lost. I hit 3 out of 4, but the Cavs didn't cover. And at the end of the third, mid third quarter, I was like, oh, they're going to cover easy. But they won by 9. The spread was 11.5. I had the rest of the parlay was Donovan over 24.5, Hunter over 8.5, and then the Cavs over 114.5.
Well done.
Yeah,
it didn't look like early on it was going to be a game that was going to go like completely over the total, and then the pace just really picked up.
Yes. Well, the Cavs, they had a great second quarter. I mean, they hit, I think, 11 threes in the second quarter and scored 40-something points in that quarter, and then they kind of struggled in the second half. But, they got to keep getting better every game, and as the series, the Heat are just not that good a team. They're feisty. They don't quit. They play hard. They're not that talented of a team, top to bottom. So the Cavs are going to win this series. Hopefully they'll sweep, maybe in 5. But as the series go on, they're going to have to play better and better. And they're going to have to play better than they have these 2 games to beat Boston. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Boston won last night against Orlando, who's obviously better than Miami. Not a great team either, but better than Miami. And they did it without Jason Tatum. He didn't play last night.
Yeah, the Magic stink. They're just,
they're better than Miami, though.
Yeah, okay, maybe a little bit. To me, they're kind of like the same.
They're same level.
They're both scrappy teams that play good defense.
Yeah,
and they have nondescript players that are going to play their asses off. That's about it. Yeah. I mean, they don't have a chance to win more than 1 game. I don't think either one of those teams.
No. Did you see the Rockets beat the Warriors late last night?
Yeah, I fell asleep. Did Jimmy Butler, was that a dirty foul? Did you see it?
I did not see it.
So
I
there
did
was
not stay up for the game.
yeah, and our guys behind the scenes, feel free to jump in if you want to.
Yeah.
I don't know if I didn't see the latest this morning, but I saw when it happened that Butler left the game in the first quarter.
Yeah, he barely played.
Yeah, I know, because I had him part of another parlay. He only
Oh.
had 3 points, so
Yeah.
he ends up leaving the game, and it just seemed like that was kind of it for the Warriors last night.
Yeah. Jalen Green had 38 for them, and
Mhm.
Sengun had 17 points, 16 boards, 7 assists, 2 steals. Kind of a ridiculous stat line. But anyway, in the end, all that matters is that you get the victory.
Yep.
Saturday is game 3 for the Cavs. They're playing at 1 p.m. I'll be on live after that for some instant reaction. And Cavs are a 6.5-point favorite. I thought it'd be a little bigger than that. Last night I predicted 8.5, but only 6.5 in Miami. I know, some teams go to Miami and get distracted by things there. I don't see this Cavaliers team being that type of team, especially in the playoffs. You want to take care of business. You want to get
they're pretty locked in here,
Yeah.
and there's not that much time. I mean,
Yeah.
you are focused in on these series. I doubt, other than probably some nice dinner and some good sushi, they're not going to be going to the nightclubs.
No, yeah. Why sushi in particular?
I think there's really good sushi in Miami.
Really? I never thought of Miami as necessarily a sushi place.
I was there last month,
Yeah.
and I had a place called Gecko. It was really good, and a place called Komodo that both had amazing sushi.
I mean, it's on the water, so that makes sense. I think of more like the West Coast in terms of sushi,
Also fine.
Yeah.
I mean, there's fish in Washington. There's fish in Florida.
That's true. Yes, there is. All right, let's get back to the draft. So the Cavs, you see the odds there. They're minus 121 to sweep. Sweep or 5 games for the Cavs. What's your prediction right now? Before we move on.
I would say most likely a sweep unless Tyler Hero goes for like 45. Which I think,
I mean, he had 30-something yesterday.
He's going to have to, for them to be able to get it, like, just to steal a game.
Yeah.
He's going to have like almost a 50-point game, I think.
Yeah. I think they're going to sweep. I just think the Heat, and again, they played really hard. I just don't think they're good enough to put it.
Isn't it fun to be the team, though, that we're just too good? They can't beat us.
Yeah. Cavs
nice.
fans have never had this experience without LeBron.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's silly to say because you had it with LeBron, but anyway. All right, let's get back to the draft. It is draft day. Again, I'll be on when the draft is over tonight. I'll be back live here in the bullpen, probably around midnight. And also Dustin and I will both be on the UCSS draft special show from 8 to 10 tonight, so check that out as well. We'll be live watching the draft.
I'm just there for the pizza, man.
Yeah. We'll have pizza. We'll be good to go.
Should I wear my Joe Flacco jersey tonight?
I think that's a good call.
Yeah.
You have a Flacco Browns jersey, I assume, not Ravens?
Of course I do.
Or Jets Joe Flacco or Colts Joe
I remember
Flacco?
when I bought the jersey, this was after you had left the show.
Yeah.
That I told Nick Wilson when I bought the jersey, I'm like, dude, this is a jersey like that I could wear to Browns games in 10 years. Because
100%.
Joe Flacco is like such a nice guy, and the story with him, the run they had to the playoffs was amazing.
Yeah.
So I could wear that jersey in 2030 to a Browns game, even if he didn't return this time.
Right.
I could wear it to a game and be like, oh, that's cool. Remember, it was a great run. Flacco. That's right. There's no bad memories with Joe Flacco.
No.
I
mean, the playoff game ended badly.
I don't even think about Flacco as like this Raven that won a Super Bowl. I don't even think about him as like a bad guy.
No, it's so funny though, because before he came here the first time, if I would have said, oh, would you wear a Joe Flacco jersey? The thought of that would seem ridiculous. But now you're right. It's the same thing in like with I know it's different, but Rajay Davis had that one moment in time where he hits the home run, and you could wear a Rajay Davis jersey. You didn't play for the Indians all that long, but you wear a Rajay Davis jersey anywhere in Cleveland, people could be like, you automatically think about that one. You think about nothing else but that one moment, and so you could do that too. You could certainly wear a Ty Jerome jersey right now too. That would be popular. All right, but let's get back to the draft. Browns picking second overall. Cam Ward is going first to the Titans. I don't know that they've officially.
Let me ask you a question, Adam.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Gun to your head right now. Will the Browns pick a player at 2?
Yeah, 100%.
100%?
Yeah. I'd be stunned if they don't. I'd be real disappointed in a draft where where almost everybody that covers the league says there's two special players in this draft, Hunter and Carter. I'd be real disappointed. The Browns had not had a first-round pick in years. When the last two they had were lower first-round picks. You have a chance to get a special player. And in Hunter's case, you have a chance to get maybe a once-in-a-lifetime player. I don't see how you trade down. To me, that's crazy. I guess in theory, if I know it doesn't seem to be the case, but if the Giants wanted to jump ahead of the Browns, flop 2 and 3 because they wanted to take a quarterback, it just doesn't make any sense. Even as I'm saying it, it makes no sense. So no, I don't. If they trade down, to me, that's a terrible decision.
Okay, let me ask you then this part.
Yeah.
At the end of the evening tonight, will they have one player, two players, no players?
Oh wow! If they have no players, that would be really bad. Unless they have Justin Herbert, they'll have one. I really feel strongly that they're not going to trade up. I know there's a lot of sentiment. Well, get that fifth year option. People have made it seem this year like that happens all the time. Lamar Jackson is the only guy in the last 10 years that a team has traded up to the back of the first round to get in terms of quarterback. And I don't know that they did that for the 5th-year option or just because they thought somebody else was going to take Lamar at the top of the second round. But and I'm basing this, maybe unfairly just on what we've heard about all the quarterbacks, but it just seems like the thoughts on these quarterbacks are kind of lukewarm. And so I don't see the Browns getting antsy about trading into the first round. I think they could stay. Now, again, you see we got the odds here. Second quarterback drafted, Shedeur Sanders, is minus 250, but he would have been I don't know what the odds were a month ago. I don't remember, but I'm sure he was a way bigger favorite to be the second pick. Jackson Dart plus 190, Milroe plus 700, Tyler Shuck plus 1,000. It really depends in the end. The possibility of the Browns trading up probably has to do with what they think of these four guys in relation to each other. And if they're comfortable with any of the four or three of the four or even two of the four, I think they'll stay at 33 and make the pick. I guess the only way I would change my mind is if Shedeur Sanders does make a big drop and we're in the late and we're at 28, 29, something like that, I could see maybe that being the case. But if it's for the other three guys, I'd be surprised. What say you? You think they're going to trade back in?
Yeah, I do. I mean,
okay.
I wouldn't bet on it. I just have this weird feeling that the Browns will. And, here's the thing. Like, I think Shedeur Sanders is going to be a good NFL player. I do.
Yeah.
I think the chances of him being a bust in the league are, I would say, slim to none. I think the guy will be a good player in the NFL. Will he be great? I don't know. Will he be a Hall of Famer? I don't know. I think he'll be good enough to help a team win. And at the end of the day, is that good enough? Do they have pieces around him?
Yeah.
All those things have to be factored in, but I don't think if whoever takes Shedeur Sanders, they're going to get a really good player.
Yeah, I guess that's the feeling a lot of people have. Is like he's good. He's probably not great. The ceiling is high. I'm sorry. The ceiling may not be that high, but the floor is. I haven't heard anybody say, "Oh, this guy's going to suck. He's going to be a bust." Whereas,
I think he could have like a Teddy Bridgewater career.
Right. Is that good enough to win a Super Bowl? Probably not.
Maybe. I mean, Teddy had the injury late, the bad one. But I mean, point is, like, he was a really good player for a while.
Yeah.
And, went to the playoffs.
Yeah. It's like. Is
that a decent comparison?
Yeah. I mean, I always, I see guys like maybe Derek Carr, maybe Andy Dalton, like the guys who are good.
Kind of the same vein.
Yeah, I think it's in the same vein. I think it's guys who are good, not great. They're going to be starters for a while. Like Shedeur Sanders will probably be a starter in the league for a long time. And maybe, maybe the things that are not his strengths, he's able to clean up with coaching. And, we do know with him, the moment's not going to be too big.
Correct.
That's one thing more than any other quarterback in this draft. The lights are not going to be too bright for him. he's just you grow up as Deion Sanders' kid. You're hobnobbing with Peyton Manning and Tom Brady because of he seems
your dad has his own Nike shoes. I mean,
yeah,
there's nothing's too big for you,
right? And he doesn't. He seems pretty down to earth for a guy who grew up, in that type of situation. He's and I think it's been overblown, his athletic ability. People are making it seem like he's not a good athlete. I think that's because he's not the athlete that his father is, but who the hell is? There's not many people that are the athlete that Deion Sanders is. So I think his athletic ability has been knocked down probably more than it should be, because I think people are comparing him to his dad in some ways, and that's not fair.
No.
And so it's going to be fascinating. And that's assuming Travis Hunter goes too. It feels like the biggest storyline today is what's going to happen with Shedeur Sanders, because is there a possibility that Jackson Dart goes ahead of him, because there are some people that think he might go. You're still hearing rumors that the Giants might take a quarterback, and we know not that long ago the Giants took Daniel Jones when nobody thought they were taking Daniel. That was a stunner. It didn't work out, but doesn't mean the Giants won't do something like that again.
I mean, there's always stunners, with some of these teams that take, flyers on players. I mean, last few years there've been a lot of guys like that end up being the surprise first round pick. I remember Jake Locker went really high.
Yeah. What's his name? The Falcons kid on the Falcons, the quarterback.
Oh, last year?
Yeah. Penix, Michael Penix.
Michael Penix Jr.
Nobody thought that because they had just traded for Kirk Cousins.
Made no sense, right?
Yeah.
But they take him.
I think a couple of interesting things to keep an eye on in terms of veterans. Could Kirk Cousins get traded today or tomorrow? I hope this one doesn't happen, but I think I'll leave it as a possibility that Trey Hendrickson gets traded. I could see Greg Newsome getting traded, by the way, in the next day or two also. I think that's a possibility. I could also see the Bengals trading down. I don't know. I don't know that the Browns would want to trade up that high, because I think the Bengals are picking 18, but it is before the Steelers. And if they're worried about the Steelers taking Sanders, I don't know that the Bengals or Browns would make a trade, but I do know the Bengals only have 6 draft picks, and obviously they're spending a lot of money on offense, so they need to get as many cheap defensive players as possible. So I think they'd like to trade down, because once you get to 18 in the first round, a lot of people think like the difference between 18 and 30 is 35, 40 even. Is you can
negligible.
Just as good a player. But does that mean somebody wants to trade up? Who knows? Time will tell. But it finally is happening. We are in less than 12 hours.
Hey, I gotta say, man, I feel good. It's a good day. The weather's great.
Yes.
Make it a little golfing this afternoon, by the way, before we get our draft cover. Tennis, golf, football. Like, what's better than that?
It's a beautiful day.
75 degrees and sunny. We got. It wasn't the best day for the Gardos, but hey.
But they're playing well overall. They're
playing well overall. Cavaliers 2-0.
Yeah.
We're going to end up with Travis Hunter tonight. I think it's a good day to be a Cleveland sports fan, right?
It is.
Buckeyes off the natty. I mean, come on.
That's true. It's a great time. I mean, the Cavs can win a championship, no doubt about it.
Absolutely.
And hopefully this is the start of the Browns putting the franchise back together with what they do today. And Andrew Berry's got to have a big day, and starting with Travis Hunter is a great way to start. And if nothing else, the excitement that will build to watch Travis Hunter, and it'll be fun to see Joe Flacco play with Travis Hunter. Like, that's going to be exciting. They can do so many things with Travis Hunter. And the Browns so often have been such a stale, boring offense that, they won't be. At least I hope they won't be. They shouldn't be with Travis Hunter. Great day. You're right. Everybody enjoy the weather. Everybody enjoy the draft. Enjoy the Cavs being up 2-0. Enjoy the Guardians being in first place. Enjoy it all. Again, I'll be on UCSS at 11 a.m. today. Dustin and I will be together on UCSS on the draft day version at 8 p.m. And then I'll be on tonight as soon as the draft ends, or soon after it ends. I can't remember. What time does it normally end? Like midnight, 11:30, something like that?
No idea.
Yeah. I want to say it's midnight or even later maybe. But I will be up and I will be on. My Aaron says to me, he's like, Dad, can I stay up for that show? Like, no. I was like, you don't even really care. You just want to stay up.
Ugh.
But yeah, he's not getting.
It's gonna be a fun draft, though. It's gonna be fun. The Browns are gonna end up with a good player tonight.
Yeah.
And listen, worst case scenario, like you got Joe Flacco this year, so you're gonna win some games. You're gonna be competitive, and hopefully you're gonna get some good players this weekend that help turn the franchise back around again.
That's right. Thanks to Max and Z for producing today. We'll talk to you all next time. Where else but right here in the bullpen. Bull and Fox. We'll see you later.